Mm.
Is it time? Just about. Dawn, how are you?
I'm well. How are you, Heidi?
Good, thank
Good.
you. How are we doing in attendance?
I think we only have two right now, so we may need to wait
Oh,
just another minute.
that's not good.
hmm I
Too
did hear
small word.
from I did hear from Zani, our new member, right? Sorry, maybe I should ask first. Anthony, do you know if Zani is going to replace Claudio on this
Yes.
committee? Yeah, okay. Um, and Zani said that they were in New Mexico, but hoping to join as long as the Wi-Fi held out. So we shall keep our fingers crossed for that.
Okay. And I saw that Tim may or may not make it because he's in a meeting.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll wait, give it a few minutes.
Dawn, you've gotten RSVPs though, right? To indicate we
Yeah,
have quorum? Okay,
yeah, we did.
good.
Is Selah joining us? Because I saw Craig's already on. Is Selah joining?
She usually does.
Yeah. Okay. I know she's always out and about, so
Mhm.
driving and dialing in, and it's always a challenge. I mean, this meeting won't take long,
Couldn't,
right? Pat, I was disappointed.
I know.
Oh,
We're trying.
I know. It's just, we only have one
Some-
more meeting before the end of the year. That's the
Yeah.
problem.
No, I know, and we have a big agenda hopefully for next month, but these deals keep finding ways to
To
get
slip.
in their own way.
I mean, can we have, and this is a question, I guess, for Nandini, if we have some deals that we want to look at before year end, can we schedule a special meeting? Or an
absolutely.
extra meeting? Because
Totally.
we have such dedicated people, I'm sure nobody would mind just another meeting sometime in December.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Both of
We
us,
also-
Fine with that.
both of us that are on would be happy to do it.
Yeah.
I would want to defer to the commissioner, of course, but there is a long gap between the November meeting and the January meeting.
Yeah.
A little shorter next year because we've moved the meeting from the 4th to the
Right.
third Thursday,
Right.
but it's still months.
Yeah. Well, anyway, Pat, give that some thought. If you
Mhm.
need it, just ask.
Okay, appreciate that.
Okay.
Wonderful.
All right. How are we doing?
We're ready.
Okay. All right. Let's call the meeting to order. Can we do a roll call, please?
Sure. I just want to remind everyone that we are live streaming and recording this meeting. Both of those processes have already started. Wendy Clark, Heidi DeWingert,
Here.
Timothy Hodges, Zani Intimowski, Commissioner Mascaro Bruno, Matt Puglisi,
Here.
Lisa Tepper Bates.
This is here.
Here.
Thank you. Greg Ugalde.
Here.
We do have a quorum in attendance for the meeting.
Okay, great. All right, first up on the agenda, and if you could move it up a little, we have the resolution regarding the financing, the modifications to the financing for Stonebridge Apartments 1 and 2, I guess, and Village of Yorkshire and Watson Farm, to be presented by Liz.
Thank you. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
This is a request for a modification of 4 loans in the CHFA portfolio. The developer is Metro Realty, and this request is the same as that presented in July. Same developer, same terms. The developer was very appreciative of our approving the modification in July, and he wants to add 4 more properties to the list. Again, to summarize, it's going to be interest only for 10 years. We're removing the surplus cash, recapture, and no audit requirement if the property has a debt coverage over 1.2. This saves him thousands of dollars on each property. So the interesting thing, I think, because this is going to be interest only, it's not amortizing. So the interest that CHFA will collect will be about 6.6 million compared to 3.7 million. And again, it just serves to really strengthen our relationship with a very reliable developer. Again, it's just like what I presented in July. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Well, he has a bunch more properties. Are we going to be doing this again?
Well, I think they're not at the 15-year maturity yet. So it would take, it's not right. We can't do anything under 15 years.
Well, the audit part, I mean, he has so many properties. I can't believe he doesn't want an audit. I mean, and I understand the cost, but what quality statement do we get? What kind of statement?
So we're going to get an income statement and a balance sheet prepared by Rob Eidelman, who is a CPA. We get a rent roll, and we're going to get the CHFA workbook, which is very detailed. And Jeff and Rob are both going to certify what they submit to us. So they have such a good grasp of what's going on. They have monthly reportings, so he doesn't really need an audit. He doesn't feel he needs an audit.
Well, he's not public, so it's just private.
Right.
The question just, and I remember this from last time, but the risk, not risk, but what we could lose out on would be, there would be a chance that he would refinance elsewhere in order to save the money, right? So this is getting him to stay home with these 4 loans as well as the others.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
Greg,
we're extending the amount of time that they're tied into us, Greg, but it would be our expectation that if they were to do any kind of recapitalization or resyndication, they would come through us. We have a tremendous relationship with Metro, and they know our processes very well, so they don't fall victim to difficulties with us.
So, I mean, I have no problem with it. I understand it's purely defensive on our part. I just, is there anything that concerns you in this process?
No, and the last time we presented it, you guys had actually suggested that we try to offer this up on a broader basis, and we said we would look at other owners and developers that have similar property. So now this, I really like this execution. I think this gives us a little bit more control. We get a little bit more income. What we're giving up in surplus cash recapture, we're more than making up for in additional interest. And again, it gives Jeff and his family a lot of flexibility in terms of how they craft this whole portfolio moving forward. And as you suggested, we have a sizable portfolio other than these 10 or 11 projects that we've done for him, that we'll be working with him on in the future.
The only 2 points that I would make was, one, whenever we have a significant client like this, for me, when we see this, it's always time to really take a closer look, because it welcomes that heightened scrutiny. And I know that that's exactly what you do, because it becomes the example. And that is the second point, is that by doing this and really sharpening this program up, hopefully we'll be able to take advantage of it, just as you said, Pat, across and leverage off of, look what we're able to do. Because I think that some people would welcome this opportunity as we move forward.
Yeah, this is a win-win for both us and for Metro.
Yeah, certainly it's easier to modify than to create a new deal, right?
Right, absolutely.
And keep it, right? So I think we all appreciate this, and maybe we can roll it out to others.
And to be honest, I mean, I think we've done similar, maybe not exactly the same thing, but we've made sort of preservation one of our strategic goals, and we've identified resources, and we could do more, but we've tried to, come at it from different angles, if you will. So we're looking at several preservation deals right now. This is one way of preserving a portfolio from prepaying and keeping it at CHFA, but also providing a way to, I don't want to say reward, but, provide flexibility where possible.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Any other questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah, Heidi,
Okay.
just my favorite part is the preservation, right?
Yeah.
That's something that we just have to focus on. So it sounds like there are a lot of good aspects to this, but I really like that. And I really like the creativity.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Good. Okay, anybody else?
Motion to approve?
Thanks, Greg. Is there a second?
Second,
Okay, Don, can you call the roll?
Yes. Wendy Clark, Heidi DeWinger,
Aye.
Timothy Hodges, Zani Intimowski, Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
The vote passes unanimously.
Thank you. Okay, next up on the agenda, which I can't see because I got the package. What's
New Kensington.
is the Kensington, I guess it's a modification to the New Kensington Square project to be presented by Anne.
Yes, hi everyone. You may recall that New Kensington 2 was originally the renovation of 96 scattered site units in the Kensington neighborhood of New Haven. It's financed with 4% LIHTC and tax exempt bonds, as well as a number of other sources. And the initial closing was back in September of 2022. They've encountered the developer and mortgagor is the community builders. They've encountered a number of challenges along the way, and namely a significant fire in March of 2024 that destroyed a 4-unit building and heavily damaged 2 adjacent buildings that are situated on the same lot. So they've really been set back in time, but they are now 100% complete with construction and are fully rented up. No one got hurt in the fire, so they were grateful for that. But the developer is now working on closing out the project. They need more time. So this is a request, firstly, for a 6-month extension to final close and to repay the construction loan. This will be the 3rd, so we need to bring it back to mortgage committee and board. And also, we are requesting a reduction in the total project units from 96 to 92 because we did lose 4. They're unable to rebuild on site because it was a non-conforming use on a lot, and the city of New Haven will not allow that. They've looked in the neighborhood, and they just have not been able to find another suitable site close within that project area. Let's see, what else? Also, the LIHTC equity won't be able to come in before we are able to or have to redeem the bonds in November. So this will allow us time to redeem the bonds, use CHFA money to move forward to get us to closing. And that's all I have. If there are any questions on this, I am willing and ready to take them.
Heidi, you're on mute if you're.
Oh,
Sorry.
Sorry.
Are you concerned about anything else? I mean, a 6-month extension doesn't seem, terrible, but this has been dragging on. So is there anything you're worried about?
no, I mean, they've already started working on their cost certification. I've seen drafts of it, and we're meeting regularly with their equity investor now, NEF. So I think 6 months will be more than we need, but just in case, we want to ask for the full 6-month time frame. I mean, they've deferred their developers' fees, so their concern is that, they're not fully funded, except that they've given up the rest of their developers' fee. They are in subrogation with the insurance company. They're kind of battling out whose responsibility it is between the contractors. So hopefully TCB will be able to recoup some of that deferred fee, but it's going to take another year or so before they know what the amount is and receive it.
And that's the part with the loss of the 4 units
Yes.
that because that
Yes,
seems to
yes,
be,
that's
yeah,
to make them whole for the 4-unit loss.
okay. Because that seems somewhat problematic for the whole balance, right? They need to be able to bring in the losses. It's income as well as expense to rebuild, but now they're not rebuilding.
Yeah, they've used
Right.
they've used deferred fee, Greg, to cover the amount that they expect to get back, or portion of the amount that they expect to get back from the insurance now. So they're motivated to get that money back, and that'll get them their fee. In the meantime, they've committed to try to find an alternative location or an alternative project that they could provide the 4 units of subsidy for.
Right.
Okay.
But if they don't find it, does that impact the equity buyer or the equity
Well,
investor?
the equity's already going to be reduced because of the loss of the 4 units, Heidi. So
Oh, it
that
is.
Right.
it'll be adequate to take us out
Okay.
along with our perm loan.
Okay. All right. So we think this is going to happen in the next 6 months.
Yes,
We actually think it's going to happen in the next couple of months, but
Yeah.
3
No,
months.
because
Everything
of our
takes
experience with
longer.
this, we've built a little bit of extra time in just in case.
Okay. Anybody else? Any other comments, concerns? No? Okay. Is there a motion to approve the extension?
Make the motion.
Thank you. Matt, second?
Second.
Thanks, Lisa. Okay, Dawn, can you do the roll, please?
Yes. Wendy Clark, Heidi DeWingert,
Aye.
Timothy Hodges, Zani Imtamowski, Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Back to the agenda. We have just the mortgage minutes from the mortgage meeting of September 22nd. Anybody have any changes, corrections, comments? Okay.
Motion to approve?
Thank you. I'll second it. Dawn?
Yes. Wendy Clark, Heidi DeWingert,
Aye.
Timothy Hodges, Zani Intamowski, Commissioner Mascara Bruno,
Yes.
Matt Puglisi,
Yes.
Lisa Tepper Bates,
Aye.
Greg Ugalde.
Aye.
Vote passes unanimously.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next up is the homeowners report to be presented by Andrew.
Yes, thank you, Heidi. Good afternoon, everyone. This report is covering our homeownership activity through the third quarter of this year. If you scroll the agenda, Don. So really quick agenda, just going to cover our reservation first mortgage activity, talk about our top lenders, down payment and time to own activity, talk about demographics and also geographic distribution, and then provide, again, updated market share estimates among first-time home buyers in Connecticut. So in the third quarter of this year, we received just north of 1,400 reservations, which is about 28% higher than the third quarter of last year. That brings the total number of reservations we've received to date just north of 3,600, which is 6% higher than this time than the third quarter of last year. And you'll note how that significant jump in the third quarter of this year. Through my digging, what we found was this is the highest quarterly reservations number since the second quarter of 2007. So a pretty significant increase in demand for our products currently. The next slide. First mortgage activity through the third quarter of this year, we've purchased just over 2,700 loans. totaling $755 million with a median loan amount of just under $280,000 and a median interest rate of 6.5%. Next slide. And then comparing how our production to the last couple years, again, you see in terms of a running count of total loans purchased, we're right in between 2023 and 2025. Right now, we're about 92% of 2024 levels. That said, we do appear to be on pace to hit that $1 billion loan purchased amount that we hit in 2024. That is driven by slightly higher loan amounts that we're seeing this year relative to last. Next slide. Just a quick summary of our top lenders through the first 3 quarters. You see Total Mortgage Services and First World Mortgage making up 36% of our total loans year to date, followed by CMG, Movement, and the others there as well. Next slide. Just briefly about our down payment assistance program. Year to date, we've seen just under 600 DAP loans totaling just under $7 million. These are separate from the Time to Own program, which on the next slide, Dawn. On the next slide, through the third quarter of this year, we've assisted just over 1,900 borrowers using the Time to Own program, which is slightly lower than this time last year, about 13% lower, but again, still seeing significant demand for the program overall. Briefly about our race and ethnicity breakdown. Through the third quarter, just under half of our borrowers were borrowers of color, which is a slight decrease relative to last year, where it was roughly a slight majority, but again, still a significant improvement from, say, 5-10 years ago. And then just geographically, we see similar towns making up the major users of our program, clustered around, say, kind of Hartford, Waterbury, New Britain, down into the New Haven area, seeing so strong usage of our programs. And then lastly, just a brief update on the market share estimate that we've been showing you all this year. Again, this is just to estimate our share of first-time home buyers in Connecticut that we make up. In the third quarter, we estimated that 27% of first-time home buyers used our products, and that's up slightly from the third quarter of last year. And you can see, but more recently, we've been hovering between that 20 to 30% mark, depending on the quarter you're looking at. And then on the next slide, the other piece of the market share estimate is what we can look at our market share by town, and you again see strong town level market shares in the central part of the state down into the Norwich and New London areas. And with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Anybody questions?
So Andrew, not so much a question, but great job with that agenda up front. I think a lot of our minds work that way, and it's very helpful, so you can anticipate what's coming too.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Do you think it just the slight downtick in interest rates has caused some of this volume increase?
That was my theory. That's downticked enough to potentially inventories up as well, but the interest rate reduction potentially getting more buyers onto the market while preserving our spread relative to the market as well.
And Andrew, I really like the first-time home buyer market share estimates by town. I don't remember how long you've been including that.
I believe since the first quarter, since January of this year, was the first time we introduced it.
Is that right? Okay.
Yeah.
So that's great. And it gives you a very different picture of our penetration than just the geographic distribution by town, which I think is really important. In previous iterations of this presentation, I guess prior to January of this year, we sometimes wondered if that other map showed more who the banks were that we were most successful at working with rather than how well we were penetrating the market. So you get a much better view of how well we're doing with regard to making this product available and getting awareness of it when you look at the market share estimates by town.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Next up on our agenda is the multifamily report to be presented by Yezi.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
We're going to get started with a development spotlight. I'm going to read a few things off of here. This is an interesting project. This is Enfield Manor and Extension. This is owned by the Enfield Housing Authority and is already in our state-sponsored housing portfolio. This development was made feasible by two major capital awards. It was 6.7 million in HUD 202 capital funds and 11.2 million in Connecticut CIF 2030 loan funds. So this was 80 units contained in 17 single-story buildings that were obsolete. So all that was being teared down is being fully demolished. And the new construction now is of 2 3-story buildings that will consist of 99 one-bedroom units with a bunch of amenities included. What's interesting is the breakdown of how these units are going to be administered. Like we have 30 units that will be assisted by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, otherwise known as HUD, through a project rental assistance contract. The project-based subsidy is through the Section 202 Supportive Housing for the Elderly program. An additional 32 units will be assisted by project-based vouchers awarded through the Housing Authority's Housing Choice Voucher Program. Of those 32 units, 10 of the vouchers will be considered supportive housing and will require appropriate services, including 5 assisted with Veterans Affairs supportive housing vouchers and 5 with mainstream vouchers. Mainstream vouchers assist non-elderly persons with disabilities, while the HUD program provides homeless veterans with case management, clinical services provided at the VA centers, at outpatient clinics, and other services approved by the VA secretary. The remaining 37 units are restricted to households earning up to 60% AMI, who are of age 62 or older or certified disabled, and all residents, regardless of the voucher status, will have access to the supportive services offered. So if you want to go down. So here you have our pipeline at a glance. These are all our projects that are pending initial closing or final closing in all the different programs that we have. If you go slightly down, you can see the HDCC, Build for CT. And if you go to the next page, you can see our year-to-year comparison. Blue is 2025, orange is 2024. And as you can see from these charts, 2025 has exceeded this time last year in everything. And here we have some news. You can look at our ribbon cutting and all our groundbreakings in the last few months. And we did include something from June, although it doesn't fall into this quarter. There was a 3-part series that some of our staff attended, with the last one being in June. So we weren't able to include this in our last quarterly report. But it was just staff and interns. They participated in a 3-part series that was sponsored by the DEP on decarbonization in multifamily housing. This was an invitation that was sent out to a number of people, including CHFA. Tina actually was was the staff that attended there. She says that it was really informative. So that's why we want to include it, so you guys can see some of the different programs in which our staff is participating in. And in August as well, we hosted our second Lunch and Learn with the Housing and Community Development Leadership Institute. And this is really condensed, but and I didn't put her name here, but Donna was the one who was in charge of this. And it just seemed to be a really great program to get to know people as well. And if you go down to we have our small emergency loan committees. In the last quarter, we had Bedford Gardens, Kimberly Place Apartments, and Leonard Street. And Leonard Street was actually approved at the small loan, and then it also had a modification within the last quarter. As you can see, we had 12 initial closings and 9 final closings in this quarter. And if you go down to our 3-month look ahead, is some of the projects that will be coming your way shortly. If you go to the next page, Dawn. And finally, we're going to conclude with River Ridge. This is being developed by William Collins, who has a number of projects in our portfolio already. He is rehabilitating. It's a rehab for River Ridge Apartments. And if you don't have any questions or comments, that is all for our quarterly report.
Thank you. Anybody, any questions?
great reports. And
Thank
you
you.
really get a lot of information in very quickly. I think that you sense Heidi's impatience. No,
No, our meetings usually go a little bit long, so
Yeah.
I'm sure on a short day, everybody's ready and anxious to continue with their afternoon.
Well, the chart that shows that 2025 is exceeding 2024 is Pat's comment or rebuttal to my concern that there was no new loans today. But you know, volume is up, so I appreciate it.
But I heard you, Heidi, and we will
I know,
respond.
I know. I can't help myself. I'm sorry. All right.
He's
Anybody
already
else?
texted me asking me for some solutions we can talk about.
All right.
Just a quick question. I wonder, Nandini, and you can tell me if this is for a future meeting, but I think that you've made good progress working with partners on the prospect of a study of supportive housing. Is this a good juncture to talk about that, or do you want to save that for a future meeting?
Would love to save it for another time, so I'm prepared. I'm sorry. But I can give you a really quick overview, if you want, and then we can discuss a little more at the next meeting.
And I can add a little bit of what we're doing with the supportive
Okay.
units.
Do you want to get started and I'll?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Right.
So what we're doing is the department looked for some support from NeighborWorks America. NeighborWorks America has something called Portfolio Strengthening Clinic. And what they do at the national level is their members get and look at their portfolio as a whole and see which projects or developments need to be restructured, what type, if there are issues in some of their portfolio, they look at as a whole, right? Which project is really succeeding and which one needs some help. Capacity building within the portfolio, whether it is capital need assessment, whether it is resources to minor rehabilitation so units can be online. And then also looking at the supportive piece, which is what type of program these projects have and are they still working or not. So the CHFA has 46, and Pat, you can correct me the numbers because I just from top of my head, 46 projects. And these are, Lisa, you have been involved for a long time, from the first initial support demonstration project, all the demonstration, the step 1, step 2, next step 2, next step 3, and a couple of other. So altogether, there are 46 supportive units specifically for with operation resources from the rental assistance that the state put in. We have heard that some of those units needs repair, some of those units are vacant, some of those services have changed the dynamic, like aids, for example. It was very prescriptive, so people don't know what to do with that. So anyway, we got NeighborWorks America to give us their curriculum, if you will, and give us a couple of consultants that they have, and we hired the consultant in the Department of Housing. And the idea is to get 3 cohorts. On these 46 units, we have about 26 owners, because some of them have multiple units. So we have a cohort of 6. Each developer owner has to bring their CEO, their treasurer, and the asset manager person, or a property manager if they have a property manager. And they 3 work with the consultant, the cohorts. It's about 6 classes, I think, like 6 weeks. And they have to do the homework, they have to do a lot of stuff. And then they move to the next one. Each developer is going to come up with a plan. What CHFA is doing, and Pat was already, they hired a consultant to do the capital need assessment, because we need those numbers to be able to know what is the amount of money that they need in order to put some of those units back online or restructure the deal. So those capital needs assessment are ongoing right now. Yep. So the 6 first group that is going to start their clinic is, I think, the beginning of November. So we hope that by January, we have all this comprehensive planning, how much money we need from, because most of the money has to come from the state, because these units do not produce don't generate any revenues, because they're providing a very deep targeted to the homeless population. So that's the plan. So the plan is that by the end of January, I have a comprehensive plan of how much money we need, and we can work directly with those owners because we will have all the information together because they are putting it together with a consultant that we have 2 consultants working with this program.
I'm just going to add a couple things. So in addition, I know we've had conversations with some of the board members on here, as well as the commissioner, about understanding the landscape of supportive housing in the state. Over many years, the qualified allocation plan has been instrumental in the creation of new supportive units. And we know besides this portfolio of properties that the commissioner just mentioned, there are a number of other funders and agencies that have been, you know, responsible for the creation of supportive housing. And we wanted to, at the board's behest, wanted to understand better how to best leverage those supportive housing units, right? We continue to create them on an annual basis through our QAP. And there's a whole sort of spectrum of need for housing the unhoused, and our supportive housing units always going to be the way that that's done. And I think the answer is it depends. And we know, you know, so I think the point of this is to say that the Housing Collective approached us and was interested in seeing if CHFA wanted to be a thought partner, but also a funding partner in conducting a study that would develop a better understanding, catalog, inventory, analysis of the supportive housing portfolio in the state. They estimate that there are 7,000 units of supportive housing statewide, with a variety of different entities that have been responsible for their creation, including CHFA, DOH, DEMIS, DSS, et cetera. And so getting a handle on all of that and being able to then use that information to move forward with, leveraging that portfolio to the maximum extent is kind of the purpose of that study. And so we've said yes, absolutely. And with DOH as well at the table and some of the other entities I mentioned, I believe Housing Collective is moving forward to issue an RFP, and we will have some financial participation in that process as well. And they're going to find a consultant and procure a consultant who is going to perform the study with the assistance of the agencies who are at the table, and produce a report with recommendations by December of 2026. It's going to take a little bit of time, but the RFP, I believe, has been released as of 2 weeks ago. Pat, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I just want to be clear that the demonstration projects will not be part of the other study. There's no sense in duplicating the work. What DOH and CHFA are going to be doing with NeighborWorks is going to be very, very intensive, and so we don't want to subject them to yet another round of providing information. So
yeah. So Liz, I told David you're prohibited from touching these nonprofits because they are really, I mean, we wanted to focus and to really come up with a plan because we don't want, that's the underwriting basically. We're going to be doing this together, and they're going to.
It's time. A lot of the demonstration projects they need to be recapitalized. They originally had their operating reserves capitalized. We've done some over time, but it's time that we took a good hard look at those projects and make sure that they're good for the next 20 years. So it's good timing.
Thank you. I think this is all really exciting because as we've talked about in the mortgage committee a number of times, to really have our arms around what this is, and it couldn't come at a better time. We don't need to bog down here on it, but the potential changes coming from HUD will be an earthquake through the permanent supportive housing world. So to be getting a really firm idea about the stock and how to look at that. I think the timing is great. So thank you very much for moving that forward. And I'll be really interested to see what we learn. Thank you.
Good. All right. Anybody else? Any other comments or questions? No? Okay.
Just a shout out to the staff of CHFA for the housing conference, by the way. And apologies, maybe you did that at the beginning before I got here. I know that was a lot of work. So thanks to all of you who were involved in that alongside DOH. And thank you, Commissioner, and Nandini.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess if there's nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So
Make
moved.
the motion or
Thank
second. I'll second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Thank
Okay.
you all.
See you guys on
See you-
Thursday.
See you Thursday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.